Monday, Anthony.
Monday Fun Day.
I thought that was Sunday, according to the Bengals. I don't know. We'll figure it out right now.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. That's right. It's just another Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. Anthony Melchiori right over there. I'm Glenn Hausman. It's January 10th. My goodness.
How old are the Bengals?
I saw them in the 1980s. I feel like we were walking like an Egyptian around 1987, 88 time.
Yeah, I forgot all about the Bengals. Are they still alive?
I don't know, but I will never forget my unyielding crush on Susanna Hoffs back in the 19.
I think Dr. Producer is going to find out for us.
I think so too. We get to the bottom of all the important knowledge here on No Vacancy Live. Anthony, I hope you had a great weekend this weekend.
Very quiet weekend. I stayed home, did nothing, and got really good at PS5 golf.
Nice. I love it. So I did not play any video games this weekend. So what was the best hole that you had, and what do you like about virtual golf?
I actually eagled a hole. It was a four par. I eagled it. I took a different line, and I don't know. It's just it keeps my mind busy when I'm just kind of chilling. So
nice.
Yeah, I got into it, and I usually play late at night, and it's fun. The graphics are amazing, and it puts you on the PGA tour, so you compete against other people. So it's fun. I don't really play that much golf, but if you play golf, you understand. One day you're like, oh my god, I'm a good golfer. The next day you're like, I should never golf again. Right. Same thing with the video game.
That's right. This is why I don't play.
In golf. One game, literally, I came in fourth out of 156. The next game, I came in 156 out of 156.
Now, are these real people that you're playing against, or
yeah, they're real people.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's super. That's really super fun. So, did you do anything fun this weekend besides that? I mean, you've been trapped at home. I took the kids out to dinner on Friday night. We had some really, really good Chinese food. The reason why I brought this up, Anthony, is because we always try when we go out to eat to try different types of foods. It really is great when you travel around the world. But we had some fried pig's intestine cooked in pig's blood.
What did you have?
Fried intestine cooked in pig's blood. How awesome was that?
How was it?
Really good. Well, one son thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. The other one, not so much. Not a fan of intestine and pig's blood, turns out.
Yeah, you know what? I may have that for lunch. Actually, it's probably really good for you. Probably a lot of protein, a lot of good nutrients.
Yeah. So, Anthony, one of the things that we're seeing is there hasn't been a lot of prevention of investment in the hospitality community. And today we're going to be talking to Ambassador Kelver Duro from the country of Dominica. But before we get into that, speaking of hotel investment, boy, oh boy, that Mandarin Oriental in New York was sold again for just over $98 million for a controlling stake in it. That's a significant discount. For 75% ownership. Everyone should know about that.
What is it?
It's about 75% ownership for that $98 million.
Right. But to put it in perspective, 10 years ago, it was worth $350 million. And that was probably, before the 2-3 years ago when everything was great, so it was probably worth more than that. I can't imagine. Well, it doesn't have that many rooms. I think it has 200 or 300 rooms, but it's a gorgeous building, gorgeous hotel, and it's a discount. And listen, when you have that kind of money and you're that kind of investor, you find those kind of deals. And it's to put it in perspective, we sold the Algonquin, which is a much smaller hotel, for the owners did. There's just shy about $20 million less than they just bought the Mandarin Oriental for.
Right.
To put it in perspective, and that's that. But you have to also understand what comes with that is all of the labor, all of the taxes, all of the money that goes into renovating it. So it's $98 million, but it's a lot more than that because I'm sure that there's stipulations with the union and things like that.
That's a really good, interesting perspective on it. But still, no matter what, it seems like an incredible deal. Might not feel like it today when New York City is running pretty low occupancy numbers, but 2 years.
It's a deal. It's a deal that won't. It's a deal that won't not come back for another 50 years. I mean, it's a once in a it's a one-off deal. Those deals don't happen very often, but when they do, because they're very complicated. Like I said, there's union issues. There's there's tax issues, there's all kinds of issues, insurance issues with the pandemic. Can you write the pandemic back into your insurance policy going forward? There's so many things that go into it. And so that number, although from advertising seems really good, like it's a good publicity thing for the journalist, if you really dig down, it's a significant investment. Did you see the 60 Minutes segment this week on the big quit?
No, I have not, but I suspect that they were underscoring all the points we've been making over the last.
Well, first of all, I don't know how LinkedIn did it, but the person that runs LinkedIn, something or other, big shot at LinkedIn, PhD from here, PhD from there, Waldorf, Harvard, she got PhD from everywhere, and really sharp lady. And so LinkedIn was kind of like the spokesperson for the big quit, which was amazing for them for branding because, they basically put people in jobs. And what they're finding, listen to this, before the pandemic, and I don't want to get the number wrong, but I think it was like 1 in 30 jobs were jobs that were at-home jobs. Okay, now it's 1 in 7. And the 1 in 30 number is actually more than that, but I can't remember what it was. 1 in 7 jobs on LinkedIn at-home jobs. Wow. And people over age 55, as you said, are taking early retirement. But as we know, the younger generation are looking for more flexibility. And what she said, and what was said throughout the piece, which I thought was phenomenal, is that it's not going away.
Right.
People have choices, and it's not going away. So the science of hiring and the science of labor right now is really a good field to be in. I mean, if you really study that model and you really study that field, it must be fascinating because everything has changed. And I think 60 Minutes really hit the nail on the head with the segment.
Yeah, I think we got to get some of our friends back from some of the employment firms, from those placing firms back on here. I think and have a good deep dive discussion about what the reality of what's going on right now. I think it's great that people are changing, and I just hope that you owners and operators out there can find ways to work within this new environment. Because if we're just going to sit back and complain about stuff that's going to happen, you're leaving yourselves susceptible to not getting.
And also, those companies that ask people to come back to the office and demanded they come back to the office, and a lot of people quit because of that. Now they're all back home again because a lot of people aren't coming back in the office because of the new variant. So it was fascinating to listen to. And it's going to be a shift, and in 10 years from now, it's going to seem so normal that mommy and daddy work from home. It's just going to be a normal thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's really great for families. I know one of the things we love here at home is all being together. And that's one of the things that I really took out of COVID. Sure, we had some business issues like we're all having, but that time with the get togetherness with your family, that is essential. And that's one of the things that I'm always going to remember, as opposed to, hey, I wish I could have commuted more to an office.
Once I left kind of the formal hotel business and did the show and everything, it was kind of a Jedi mind trick because it looked like I was really, really busy traveling all over the world, which I was. But if we shot 20 shows, that 20 shows took less than 20 weeks. So, and during that period of my life, I did nothing. I did nothing but shoot. And the rest of the 25 weeks I was home. So I did nothing outside of speaking and stuff like that. But I really focused on building that show to what it was with the crew. And so I stayed home a lot. And then now with the pandemic, so I've been very fortunate that, my kids know my name.
Right. Yeah. Very fortunate. All right. And one of the names that we're going to get to know more so is Dominica. You might not be as familiar with some of the other Caribbean islands that are out there, but these guys are coming on fierce to come on strong. And they want you to think about how we can all invest in there. Calvert DeRose, an ambassador to the United States from the country of Dominica. Welcome to the show. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be on the show. And thanks for having me. I think
you're the first ambassador we've ever had on the show. Is that true, Glenn?
No.
Oh.
We had a former ambassador to the European Union. the show from the United States. So that was pretty cool. But it's always fun talking to gentlemen and women such as yourself, the folks that are really out there creating those relationships. I know you're based in New York City, but first, for those of you who don't know where Dominica is, it is, of course, in the Caribbean, north of St. Lucia, south of Montserrat, Antigua, and Barbuda, in that whole area. Also north of Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago.
Puerto Rico.
Of Puerto Rico, southeast
South
of
of Puerto Rico.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So now that we know where it is, you get one of those cool license plates where you can just park anywhere in New York City, Kelver?
You still have certain restrictions.
Yeah. Okay.
So tell them about your background, what you do, and then I want to talk to you about what you guys are looking for as far as tourism and what your new plans are.
Definitely. Well, firstly, let me say a special good afternoon to all of your viewers and your listenership. And I'm very happy to be on the show this afternoon.
Thank you.
Like you said, I am Kelvadaro, Ambassador Kelvadaro from the island of the Commonwealth of Dominica. And sometimes it is mistaken for the Dominican Republic,
Right.
but it is not. It is an island. It's an English-speaking territory. And
Aren't
it is
you
located
a former British colony, but got independence in 1978?
78, correct. We attained our independence from Britain in 1978, and we are centrally located in the Caribbean. So we are, in fact, one of the easier destinations to get to because of where we are located.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I am from the western part of the island of Dominica, a community called St. Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in that community. It's a very enterprising part of the country, and also Dominica has a very stable government. So our government is very stable. In fact, we've had good relations with a number of countries over the years, including the U.S., which we have very good relations with, and as well as several other countries across the world.
Your government is probably more stable than ours.
And my background has been in youth work and also
Cool.
Technology. So I come from a community that has a very high ratio of young people, and over the years I've worked with several youth organizations, both in my country and also within the Caribbean region. And I also served for the last 10 years as a member of parliament in my country, and also a minister of government.
So cool.
before being transferred here to the United Nations to serve as ambassador for my country. So I am very pleased to be on the show this afternoon, and I'm hoping that we can get to speak much more about Dominica and what it has to offer as a tourist destination.
That's great. And what's interesting is it's a very small island nation. I think you have less people in your entire country than we have here on Long Island in the town of Smithtown.
Yes, we have a population roughly about 70,000 people.
Right.
So we have a very small population, but we also have a very productive population. That is to say, a lot of our people are involved in agriculture. Mm-hmm. Involved in tourism, involved in production. And these are some of the things that we want to market for our country. Right. Because we believe that a lot of the local products that we have, they can find their place on market shelves across the world. And we are already seeing that. So this is something that we want to continue to promote as a country, because we have a lot of locally made crafts. Mm-hmm. We also have a section of our population which is made up of indigenous people. And this is a very, very important part of our culture and our heritage, the indigenous people of Dominica. And they also serve as a wonderful attraction for tourists. When tourists come to Dominica, they always want to visit the part of the country which we refer to as the Carinago territory, where the indigenous people reside. And they are known for their handcrafts. They are known for their local dances and a lot of local products that they produce. And we are very pleased to have them as well, forming part of the entire tourism product back in Dominica.
So how do you mix tourism and you bringing them in, tourists, and understanding that culture without exploiting that culture, without exploiting them? Because I would imagine it's fascinating. I'm sure there's not like technology and they're doing things, the way they did for hundreds of years. So I would imagine that's a very that's a balance that has to be protected.
Definitely, and of course, our government places tremendous emphasis and focus on our indigenous population. That is why we have had targeted programs to strengthen and to ensure that our indigenous people are protected. In fact, they have a section of the island which is specially allocated to them. It's on the eastern part of the countryside where they have this wide range area that is specially allocated towards our Kalinago people. And we provide a lot of incentives to the Kalinago people. And when visitors from abroad visit the Kalinago territory, they have a wide assortment of fruits, of vegetables, of handcrafts, of local crafts that they can partake of and they can purchase. They also can indulge in the local dances and the local culture of the Kalinago people. And we've seen that, and they have had a wonderful experience indulging in the local crafts that the indigenous people have to offer. And I also want to encourage our people that when they visit Dominica, they visit the island, they must pay close attention to the Kalinago people, because they can learn so much, and they can also get to experience life in the Kalinago territory for a day as well.
As you were mentioning that, I was looking down at some of the hotels and Airbnbs and things that are available, and you have some beautiful places to stay, and some are very affordable.
Definitely. In fact, currently we have over 1,500 hotel rooms on island that are available. And one of the newly constructed hotels that we have in the northern part of the island is the Kempinski Cabrit Resort.
Oh, wow. That's
yes,
great.
so we have a Kempinski brand. It's a 5-star resort with 151 rooms, and it is now the eye of the Caribbean, because a lot of visitors, when they've come to Dominica, they book at the Kempinski. We also have Eco Resort down in the southern part, which is the Jungle Bay Resort. This also is in fact, it is the new Jungle Bay, as we call it, because we had an older version of Jungle Bay that was destroyed after Tropical Storm Erika. So now we have the new Jungle Bay Resort with a total of 89 villas newly constructed. And this also provides the opportunity for visitors to get first-hand experience as to what Dominica has to offer.
Right.
Of course, we have our more traditional and homemade hotel, which is the Fort Young Hotel, which has been there for a long time, and it has had several renovations been undertaken. So they have now improved their room stock, and they have also improved some of the amenities that they have to offer to visitors. We also have.
If I can interrupt you, if I was going to come see you there, where would you take me? Where would you, as a person that was born there, where would you, forget about all the tourism things and all the commercial stuff, but where would you say, okay, these are the two places I got to take you? It'll blow your mind.
And he means where you will be taking us when we go.
One of the places I would take you for sure is to the Roseau Valley. If you go to the Roseau Valley, you are able to get an experience beyond any other experience that you've had, because you are able to get to experience the natural aspect of Dominica in all its forms. That is to say, you can bask in the beautiful rivers and waterfalls that we have to offer, as well as the hot springs. If you are a hiking person, you get the opportunity to hike the trails there in the Roseau Valley. You also get the opportunity to see some of our picturesque places that we have at various points in the Roseau Valley and explore nature at its best. So the Roseau Valley basically encapsulates all of what Dominica has to offer in terms of nature, in terms of the food that you get, the local rums that you can experience, the whole package. You can get to experience that within the Roseau Valley. Another place I would take you would be to the southern part of Dominica, where we go to Soufriere Scott's Head. This is a more friendly area for visitors who like to go to do the scuba diving, the whale watching, as well as to enjoy the beach and some of the local foods as well. There are also a lot of picturesque views there as well, where you can see the island of Martinique down to the south, and you can also get to enjoy the local people there as well. So these are two of the main areas that I would take you to. Of course.
So if I was going to go to your grandparents' house, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If I was going to go to your grandparents' house or your family's house, what's the one dish they'll make me?
Could you repeat that?
What's the one food they would make me if I went to your grandparents' house? We
would make you what you call a local broth, a local broth. So this food, this dish, it actually entails having some of the local provision, the local food that we have, and we have the local fish, as well as some smoked local chicken. So we put all of this together in one pot.
Right.
And once you taste that food, you don't want to go back, because this is mouth-watering, it's savory. It is something that you'll have your taste buds budding for days. So anytime you come to Dominica, you got to have a local broth.
So you extract the meat and you have the broth. It's kind of like pho. When I went to Vietnam, they did something similar, and it was like, it blew my brains out.
Oh yes, this one will, and you have all of the local seasoning in there as well. So when you come to Dominica, I want to ensure that you have a local broth.
Okay, who's the best one you've ever tasted? Which the best one?
For me personally, I go to my boys. My boys, she's located close to the city. So she has one of the best broth in Dominica, but you can get it all across the island. You can get different broths across the island.
Wow,
that's awesome, and I'm sure like every grandmother's is different, right?
Yes, for sure.
It's like meatballs.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about tourism. Based on some numbers I saw online, tourism represents less than a quarter of your overall gross national product, right?
Yes.
You're seeking at this point to increase those numbers. Now, for simplicity's sake in this conversation, let's just leave out the last 20 months because that's been a disaster.
Right.
Representative where we have been. You guys get cruise ships and that sort of thing coming in. And you recently now have twice weekly flights coming on American Airlines from Miami into your country and returning to Miami, like I said, twice a week. That sounds to me it's the beginning of something special for you guys. Prior to that, you were still getting so many tourists, I guess a lot by boat, but they would have to come in from other countries via airplane. What does this mean to you with tourism, and how is that framing your look at tourism investment in the future? And Kyle, I saw you put up a great question. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Go for it, Kelvin.
Well, this initiative between the government of Dominica and American Airlines, it has been a game changer in the tourism sector. Because now what we are able to achieve is that we are able to achieve direct flights from mainland US, from Miami, straight into Dominica. That has lessened the burden on a lot of travelers who would have had to stay over or have had to transit via Barbados or Antigua or even Puerto Rico. So they can now, US travelers can now have a direct flight from Miami directly to Dominica. Additionally, those travelers and visitors who are engaged and involved in the diving and who have had to transport equipment,
right,
they no longer have that hassle with these direct flights. So you are able to either take the flight out of Miami on a Wednesday morning or on a Saturday morning, and you are able to get direct access to Dominica.
That's great.
This will continue to blossom for the tourism sector, in that we will see an increased number of visitors, particularly during the winter time here in the US, when quite a number of travelers want to escape to the Caribbean for the sunshine, the beaches, and the warmth of the Caribbean. So we have already experienced heightened numbers, and we will see these numbers continue to increase, thus impacting positively on our overall GDP.
Before then, there were no direct flights?
No, there was no direct
US.
flight from the US to Dominica before
Why
this.
was that? Why was that?
Well, one of the challenges we've had is that we've not had an international airport. But currently we've had the contract signed for the construction of our international airport. So in earnest, this year we will see the actual construction begin of our international airport, which
Wow.
will help to alleviate that problem once and for all. But for now, we've seen the commencement of 2 flights per week from Miami to Dominica, and we expect that by April of this year, we will see that increase to daily flights from Miami into Dominica from April of this year.
That's great.
Yeah, I really hope that works. So there's been more investment in the hospitality business, particularly you already mentioned hotels. Are they owned by Dominica nationals, or are they investors from other countries putting their money into Dominica?
We have some locally owned hotels. Like I said, we have the Jungle Bay Resort, which is locally owned by Mr. Sam Raphael. Port Young Hotel is also locally owned by the Nassifs. And we also have some foreign investors who have now partnered with the government to construct some of the hotels that we currently have under construction. So, for instance, we have a brand of the Hilton, the Tranquility Resort Hilton, which is currently under construction and should be completed early next year in 2023.
Is that going to be a proper Hilton or one of their other brands?
Yeah, one of the other brands.
Okay.
We also have a Marriott, which is currently under construction and will be completed by 2023 with a room stock of 129 rooms. And we also have one of the new eco resorts, which is the Sanctuary Rainforest, which is under construction in the Roseau Valley, and it will have a total of 72 rooms and 39 villas. So we have a current hotel stock under construction, and once that current stock is completed, we will see an increase in hotel rooms generally for the island.
Right.
And we also want to encourage other investors who probably might be listening to this program and who are interested in hotel development to choose Dominica, because we have some of the most better prime properties that are available for hotel development. And of course, our government will provide you with all of the incentives and tax breaks that you require during the construction phase, as well as during other phases of the project.
Excellent. So the country's philosophy is help get those hotels built, and then you could be the receivers of those taxes in perpetuity, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, real smart. I love that. I like that you're getting very focused on it. You have so many hotels coming online with so few people. I'm curious as to what you're doing to attract talent, which gets us right into Kyle's question. How do you attract talent from abroad to work from your hotels and tourist attractions, aside from locals, even though it sounds like you have amazing people there as well?
Well, one of the things that we always encourage residents is that Dominica is known as the nature island of the Caribbean, and we're also a very peaceful community. So if you're looking for a country where your mind can be at peace, where you can be relaxed, Dominica is that country that you need to come to.
Because I'm calmer just listening to you already.
Yes, because we have a very low crime rate.
Yeah.
We have the most friendly people in the world. In fact, we are probably the happiest nation in the world, to be quite frank.
I think
to be quite frank, because
when you on that, look out.
when you come to Dominica, you actually get younger because of the peace and the serenity that nature offers, and how you're able to blend in with the culture and the local people. So we provide a lot of incentives for persons who want to come to the country and who want to come not only to invest, but to make Dominica their second home. And that is why we also have our citizenship by investment program, where we provide the opportunity for other residents of other countries to have a Dominican citizenship. And that provides the opportunity for you and your family to come and reside in Dominica. So whether you decide to make an investment, or whether you decide to just want to become a resident of Dominica, you have that opportunity. and the government makes the process very seamless. It is a process that is very transparent. And what we've seen from our experience is that once these investors and these families come to Dominica, they want to stay in Dominica because they feel part of the Dominican community and they want to contribute towards Dominica's development in one way, shape, or form.
Well, if you're any example of that, I feel younger and I feel more relaxed just listening to you.
Right?
Matter of fact, I went online, Glenn,
Yes.
and the ambassador is 78 years old. But he looks so young and is so vibrant because he lives there.
That's hysterical and absolutely true. I mean, Ambassador, it's really cool to be part of such a great culture and stuff like that. But how are you getting us Americans, which has got to be a great audience for you to appeal to? How are you cutting through the din of all of the other messaging, not just from other destinations here in the United States, but some of those other Caribbean nations as well?
And especially now, because it's not too hard to get Americans to move now. So
that is correct. That is correct.
A good opportunity.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good question. In fact, with the entire pandemic, the opportunities have also arisen with the entire pandemic. And one of the programs that our Ministry of Tourism has embarked upon is the Safe in Nature Tourism Program, where we invite visitors to come to Dominica. They can spend up to 6 months, a year, if they choose to, or longer in the country, and it will be hassle-free for them. So particularly with people being now asked to stay home and work at home, you can now come to a Caribbean country. You can now come to Dominica, and you have the opportunity to work from your hotel, from your Airbnb, or if you decide to settle at someone's residence in Dominica, you have that opportunity to come to Dominica, spend some time there, and you're able to work. So this is one of the opportunities that we provide. Not only that, but we provide several other incentives that will allow visitors to come to the country. So while others may see it as probably competing with other destinations, we see it as opportunities for visitors, particularly from the North American market, to come across to Dominica, enjoy nature at its best. Because while you have the opportunity to work from your hotel room, from your Airbnb, or from whichever destination or residence that you may decide to stay when you come to Dominica, you also have the opportunity to go to the beach and relax, to go whale watching, to go and enjoy the rivers and the waterfalls, to go and snorkel, to go for a soak in our warm water or hot water pools.
Right.
So it's a holistic package that we are offering, unlike no other destination. And Dominica should be your number one destination whenever you decide to leave the U.S. mainland and to travel to the Caribbean.
I'm selling my house tomorrow. I know where I'm going.
Seems like it, right?
And also I would imagine a lot of these islands have become so touristy that it's almost like Disney World. You get off the boat, you go downtown, it's the same shops, it's the same things. I would imagine your country, you really feel your country. You really feel like it was 400 or 500 years ago. And I would imagine it's modern in a lot of areas, but also when you're walking around the towns, almost feels like Europe, where you really feel that architecture and you really feel that authenticity. Whereas a lot of the islands kind of, knocked all that down and built really beautiful buildings, and it looks like any other place in the world.
Yeah, and what we've done is that we've been able to renovate some of the older buildings that we've had. So even when tourists come and visit, particularly with the background picture that my friend is showing there of Dominica, that is right on the bayfront, and that is where the cruise ships normally dock. So this would be the first site that the tourists from the cruise passengers would see when they get off the cruise ships. And a lot of the buildings which are in the background, they have been renovated to really capture the minds and the attention of the visitors.
Right.
But they are also there as historic buildings. So you have a history with these buildings as well. In fact, we have our National Museum as well, located right within that stretch of land that you have as your background.
So that background that Glenn is standing in front
Yes,
of.
Glenn's background.
Tell the audience where he is and what we're seeing.
So the background he's seeing is in the capital of Dominica, which is Roseau, which is our capital. So that is where the major cruise ships will dock. We also have our ferry terminal in that area as well. So we will receive the ferry terminal which transport passengers within the Caribbean territories of Guadeloupe, of Martinique, St. Lucia into Dominica. So this is where you will get off the cruise ships. And once you get off the cruise ships, you will find an ambience where all of the local craft will be on display. So all of the vendors, all of the small business owners, they will be in that area as your background, where you will be able to purchase some of the local items that are specifically made by our Dominican people. Very nice background and very nice area of Roseau.
It's really weird. There's a microphone right in the middle of the background.
It's actually the centerpiece of their country. Everybody comes and they pray to the giant Mike on the hill. It's kind of like the Jesus statue in Brazil.
You're the Jesus statue. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
I should also mention too that in terms of our marketing strategy as well, we have a department within the Ministry of Tourism, which is our Discover Dominica Authority. And they are solely responsible for the marketing aspect of Dominica. And of course, we have different, through our various missions and organizations in various parts of the world, we also provide brochures, magazines, videos, and we also invite social media influencers who come into Dominica and who capture various aspects, of our culture, of our country, and they themselves advertise and use their social media platforms to promote Dominica for us as well. So we have a very holistic approach to marketing the country and marketing various aspects of the country. And hopefully this year, we will be having an event in New York, which will also showcase Dominica at its best.
Do you have a date yet?
Not as yet.
Okay.
And we also have Dominican organizations here in the tri-state area. Up to yesterday, I had a meeting with one of the groups, and they will be hosting an event during our National Independence Celebration, which will be around October into November time. So they will be hosting an event here in New York as well, where they will be showcasing Dominica's culture, Dominica's food, Dominica's dance, and inviting visitors to visit the country during next year's tourism season.
Excellent. Well, make sure you get us on the list to when you have that big party. We'd love to meet you in person.
Sure. Definitely. I will in fact invite you all as well.
I would put all my money into a TikTok influencer and have that person run around your country and show the beautiful people of your country, because your spirit resonates and you can just say the way you grew up and the people you're surrounded by. So tell me the first time you came to New York City and tell me that experience for you.
The first time I came to New York was a few years back, but I moved there in August of 2020, basically in the midst of the pandemic.
Wow.
To take up my office here in New York at the Dominica Mission. It was a very humbling experience, I would say, in terms of having to witness so many people die of the COVID-19 and having to see so many of these long lines, people going to get tested to find out the status and so forth. So it was a very humbling experience for me. I've had also the opportunity to experience some of the attractions here in New York. I've been to Times Square. Had the opportunity to also go to a few other areas like the Museum of Ice Cream, to visit some of the waterfront attractions.
Yeah. But what was that? Where were you when you first came here? What was your first thought the first time you landed in New York?
My first thought was, I am finally in the Big Apple. That was my first thought. I'm finally in the Big Apple.
Is people as rude as people say, or are we as nice as I think we are? Somewhere
you have a mix, because sometimes you try to be very friendly to certain people, but you don't get that friendliness back.
Yeah.
Others, they will embrace you. They will embrace you. So it all depends on who you meet and probably the mood that they're in on that particular day.
Right. Don't say hello to anybody at 8 o'clock in the morning in rush hour.
Right.
Thanks, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, obviously the flight from Miami through American has been very critical to you, but that's only one city.
Yes.
Norman Hawk is asking, what other cities you wanting to have direct routes to within the next couple of few years? I'm just thinking JFK out of New York City.
Definitely, this is one that is high on our agenda. In fact, we've already begun discussions with JetBlue.
Oh, great!
Yes, so hopefully, if all works out well, then probably later this year or early next year, we will see the emergence of a direct flight from JFK straight into Dominica, because the New York and the Tri-State area, in fact, is one of our hubs for our Dominican population. We have a very high population of residents within the Tri-State area, and of course, they want to travel back home more frequently. Mm-hmm. So if we are able to get that connection straight out of JFK into Dominica, this will augur well for all of our residents here in the Tri-State area, and also visitors as well who want to get a direct access into Dominica.
How long is the flight? How long is the direct flight?
From New York, it'll probably be about 4 hours.
Okay.
Yes, so just under 4 hours from New York.
Yeah, it's pretty far down there near South America.
Yes, so. yes, because the direct flight from New York, as it is now, to Antigua is about 3.5 hours, and then you have about 30 minutes from Antigua to Dominica.
Yeah, so I was saying get one from Dulles as well. That's probably a good idea. DC
so we are working feverishly on that connection from out of JFK into Dominica, and hopefully we will see that connection being materialized very soon, so that we have our residents here in the Tri-State area being able to access direct flights from JFK into Dominica.
So have you learned from other Caribbean destinations that have a more mature tourism industry about how they have managed to achieve that and have kind of learned some of their best practices? And if so, give me one or two.
Ding, ding, ding. Good question, Glenn.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, that is why we are also pursuing the international airport, because what will happen with the international airport, it will make the cost of traveling to Dominica much cheaper.
Right.
It will significantly reduce the cost of tickets, because when I came to New York, one of the things that I pursued was to find out why is it that it is more cost efficient to go to certain Caribbean countries, other Caribbean countries compared to Dominica.
Right.
And the reason is because you have a direct flight. So from New York, you can get a direct flight into Barbados, into Antigua, into St. Martin, etc., etc. So we do not have that currently with Dominica because we do not have an international airport. So my government is now actively pursuing the construction of this international airport. And once this project is completed, we will see a significant reduction in the cost of air travel into Dominica. And of course, we've used several other Caribbean countries who have a more blooming tourism sector than ours as a measuring stick. Mm-hmm. Barbados, for example, what is it that Barbados is offering that we do not have? Barbados has the beaches and the hotels, the hotel rooms. So currently we are now constructing more hotels, so we have more rooms to offer visitors. Because when visitors come to your island, they want quality hotel rooms to stay in. What is it that Antigua is offering that we don't have? And so these are some of the measuring sticks that we use. And then from what we've gathered based on our market research, our market surveys, and also our interaction with various tourism boards within other Caribbean countries, we are able to make a determination that this is the direction that we have to go. Mm-hmm. Because some of the attractions that we have in Dominica, a lot of the other Caribbean countries, they do not have them. Mm-hmm. They do not have them. So we find where we can maximize our potential and to our advantage, and also how we can improve certain products that we are offering, so that when a tourist comes to Dominica, they will want to come back, and they will want to make Dominica their first destination whenever they decide to take their family for a vacation to the Caribbean.
So when will you be running for president?
I leave that question as one that I will answer in the next 10 years.
All right. So I know I said one more question in the chat room, but I got one more question for you, Kelver.
Sure.
Your name does not sound at all influenced by British. A lot of the city towns don't feel they feel more influenced by French than British.
Have you been there?
British territory, but everything sounds French.
Good question. Well, in fact, we were between a tug of war between the British and the French for a number of years until we were finally colonized by the British. So we've been between the French and the British. In fact, we have a local dialect that we speak, a patois, so which is more of a French Creole. So that is one of our local dialects. And of course, we gained our independence officially from Britain in 1978. And like you mentioned, we still have our connections with the French. And of course, we are also closely knit with our French neighboring territories of Guadeloupe and Martinique. So they are, in fact, by boat, just about half an hour to 45 minutes away from Dominica.
Yeah.
So we also have a large French tourism market. So whenever we have our independence celebrations, our World Creole Music Festival, we see a overflow of visitors from the French territories of Guadeloupe and Martinique. So we, in fact, also have a very, very solid French base. And of course, of our Haitian brothers and sisters as well. We also have a blossoming population of our Haitian brothers and sisters in Dominica, and they speak French. So they have now incorporated themselves within Dominica as well.
Thank you so much for the history lesson and a better understanding of your absolutely beautiful country. Dominica, Anthony, it looks like we got somewhere else we got to travel to now.
Definitely.
Anthony's muted. So while he figures that out, Kelvin, go for it.
I was going to say, after you win the presidency, invite us down. We'll do a podcast.
Yeah, royal treatment. That'd be really awesome. So, Ambassador, how can we learn more about Dominica, whether or not we want to travel there or invest there?
Yes, well, you can go on the Discover Dominica's website, and you can do a simple Google search of Dominica as well. And obviously, we have a lot of social media platforms that you can also hook up to, and you can find lots more information that you can search for and find out about Dominica. And of course, the best way to come to get to know about Dominica is to come to Dominica in person. And I really want to encourage your listeners and also your viewers to make Dominica one of the destinations on their bucket list for 2022 or 2023. You need to come to Dominica and experience firsthand what the nature isle of the Caribbean has to offer. Its food, its culture, its heritage, its wide range of natural resources and attractions. Come to Dominica. Make Dominica your destination of choice. Make Dominica your second home. And we will welcome you with open arms. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in Dominica in 2022.
Very commercial. But most importantly, the nicest people on earth.
Definitely. Nicest people. And it will add 10 more years to your life, Anthony and Glenn.
We've seen it's already added like, I don't know, 30 something more. That's looking so good. All right, Ambassador, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, and all the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
That was fun. I love it when we get on people from other countries to share their stories as well.
I love when we have the ambassador of a country to the United States of America on our show, and he sounds like a 12-year-old that had too much sugar. He's so excited about his country and about selling his country and letting us all know. I just love that passion, that just unbridled enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's really terrific. All right, everybody, such a great place, man. We really gotta go to one of these places that we claimed that we're gonna go to.
I just love that sort of unbridled enthusiasm. You're like,
Just like it's too good for me. That's the whole thing. These people are so happy. They live in these great places. They're happy all the time, but we're stuck up here in the north.
Do you remember what I say? You remember what I've been saying for the last year? What's the goal?
Get to Dominica.
Happiness. That's the goal.
That is.
Everybody thinks this is that, and I think this big quit that we all talk about. I think that's what people just say. It's like, oh my God.
That's right.
Like I'm not happy, so let me be happy. And it's just mind-boggling because we have the opportunity to work from home. I couldn't imagine getting back on the kind of punching in a clock at 9 o'clock in the morning and going through Monday through Friday. I probably wouldn't mind it for a couple of years, but I don't know if I would do it for another 20. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Also, I think some of that has to do with the fact that we're getting a little bit older.
Yeah. People our age, actually my age, because I'm older than you, are starting to just kind of pack it in and go to Dominica.
Yeah, that's right. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Is it Dominica or Dominica?
It's Dominica.
Okay.
Right? But us New Yorkers were saying Dominica.
Right. You said it's right.
Now we know the right pronunciation. So Dominica. If you want to hear it 1,000 more times, listen to our audio version of the podcast. Listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You know where this is going. Get it wherever you like to get your shows. Spotify, we're there. And if you don't know where, if you for some reason don't see it on the site you're at, let us know. I'm at Traveling Glenn. He's at Anthony Hotels. Final thoughts, sir?
Yes, it was an article that I sent the producer that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot what article it was from.
All right. She's making faces. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See y'all tomorrow.